Ina mana, ina rau rangatira, nau mai haere mai, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. And good morning all. It's my real pleasure and delight this morning to be able to welcome you to Parliament's Grand Hall for this gathering, for this conference that you all take part in over 2 days. It's my view that our parliamentary democracy at its very best gives a voice to the dispossessed and the powerless. And the work that we are coming together to do today is about exactly that. So I thank you for your work in this field, and I hope and I'm quite sure that there will be a productive dialogue that happens over the next 2 days. Can I firstly make a few acknowledgements before making some comments to launch things off. Firstly, to US Embassy Representative Mr. Kevin Covert, who I just met a little earlier. Thank you, Kevin, for your role in bringing us together today and the role of the Embassy. Bishop Dr. Ali Sanderson of the Wellington Anglican Diocese, Dean David Rowe of Wellington Cathedral of St Paul, Archbishop David Moxon, my colleague and Minister of Immigration, the Honourable Chris Farfoy. Can I also acknowledge other MPs who I believe are here? I haven't spotted them, but Scott Simpson and Chris Bailey, I think, are here as well. Great to have you along as well, to have representation from across the House at this gathering. I'd like to thank all of the speakers and panellists who are going to be sharing their insights and their experiences over the next couple of days. I've seen the program, and I think we've got some excellent speakers who are really going to open up this discussion to bring forward the issues at play and to help us explore solutions. Can I again just repeat that thanks to the organisers of this conference, specifically acknowledging the Anglican Diocese of Wellington and MB for the efforts in making the event happen. I know there's been a lot of work going into this, working with the US Embassy. One of the things that I'm very aware of is that over the last couple of months, as a politician, you get a bit of an antenna as to issues that people are thinking about out in the community. You sort of have your own agenda and policies that you wish to go out and speak about. But you really pick up when people start to approach you about an issue. And over the last couple of months, I have had a constant stream of people from faith communities, community groups, the business sector, coming and speaking to me about the suite of issues that we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days. So it's very clear to me that there is a movement that is happening here that you're all a part of. So please be comforted and encouraged by the fact that your work is having that effect. It's formally my pleasure to now open this conference, Tango e te Kaupae, Muri, take the next step. The forum over the next couple of days is going to bring together support service providers, advocates, businesses, academics, and representatives of national and international groups, government representatives, and also individuals with a common goal of ending modern slavery and worker exploitation. Modern slavery is a global scourge. And for our government, a government which fundamentally believes in the dignity of labour, the importance and centrality of human rights, and has a sense of a shared mission to build a world in which everyone can live in justice and peace, this is something which we simply cannot accept. Modern slavery leads to considerable harm and trauma to victims, as well as significant social and economic costs. And also at a business level, those businesses that do the right thing in supply chains can find themselves undercut by competitors who turn a blind eye to modern slavery or who use illegal practices to get ahead, and that is not acceptable. The current estimates, and I think most of you will be sadly aware of this, is that we have around about 40 million people who are affected by modern slavery around the world, including 25 million people affected by forced labour. The true number of victims may be even higher, especially now given the devastating impact of COVID-19 around the globe and a corresponding increase in people's vulnerability to exploitation in its various forms. Alarmingly, within New Zealand last year, we saw an individual convicted for charges of both slavery and people trafficking. That investigation uncovered serious offending which involved 13 victims and took place over a 24-year period. And we're pretty sure that that is not the only case. More broadly, cases involving serious worker exploitation continue to be seen. I just wish to acknowledge officials who are here who work day in and day out on these issues. Modern slavery encapsulates a wide range of practices, and there is no single profile for what a victim looks like. A victim worker could be a factory worker trapped through debt bondage, working long hours for low wages to try and pay off a huge debt that they may never actually repay. They could potentially be working as part of a large international supply chain. We can and we must strive to better understand the indicators of modern slavery to help identify potential victims so that we can help them. Some of these signs can include physical signs, such as a person being accompanied by an escort or a translator, living at their workplace or working long hours and having no time off. They can include behavioural signs, such as a person becoming disconnected from their networks, displaying fear or anxiety, or appearing to deliver rehearsed statements or stories when asked questions about their working environment. We do need to remember that it was a conversation at a church between a worker and a member of the public, which ultimately led to New Zealand's first conviction for people trafficking. So good lines of communication, asking questions and being aware of the signs are so critical for us being able to help the people who need it. The government is committed to continuing our work to end modern slavery and worker exploitation. Last year, the government announced a sweeping series of changes to prevent the exploitation of temporary migrant workers and improve enforcement of the law. These changes are supported by a $50 million investment over 4 years, and this will include specific changes to help migrant workers better understand their rights and responsibilities when working in New Zealand, making it easier for migrant workers to report and leave exploitative employment, and reducing the risk of exploitation occurring, including by deterring non-compliant behaviour and mitigating risks associated with higher risk business models. The implementation is currently underway and good progress is being made. I expect that a new exploitation reporting line will be in place by mid-2021 to give workers an easy and simple way of reporting exploitation, and that new legislation required will be introduced by the end of 2021. These changes followed on from the government's review into temporary migrant worker exploitation. Tomorrow you're going to be hearing more from officials regarding this work and the various changes that the government is in the process of implementing. Our commitment to addressing modern slavery has been further reinforced by the international commitments that we have made. Following New Zealand's third universal periodic review by the United Nations Human Rights Council in 2019, we agreed to consider introducing legislation requiring businesses to report publicly on transparency in supply chains. And the aim of this approach would be to eliminate practices of modern slavery in New Zealand and also beyond our borders. This was also a manifesto commitment of the incoming Labour government, and I do wish to reconfirm today that we are seriously investigating the value of introducing legislation to help eliminate modern slavery through improved, transparent reporting processes. And I know this is an issue of interest to many of you, and I look forward to working on that piece of work with you. Recently, New Zealand ratified the ILO's Forced Labour Protocol. This entered force in New Zealand at the very end of 2020. The Forced Labour Protocol is a legally binding treaty-level agreement, and it requires us to undertake a number of measures, including putting in place effective measures to prevent and eliminate forced labour, providing victims with protection and access to remedies, and also to sanction the perpetrators of forced labour. The Forced Labour Protocol provides an internationally recognised framework for taking effective action against forced labour and its impact. But modern slavery can take a range of forms, including people trafficking for purposes other than forced labour. To support New Zealand's efforts to address modern slavery, I'm pleased today to formally launch the new all-of-government Plan of Action against forced labour, people trafficking and slavery. This will be publicly available from today on MBIE's website. The Plan of Action sets out a high-level framework for the actions that agencies will undertake over the next years, running through till 2025. It's comprised of 28 actions organised across 3 key pillars, these being prevention, protection and enforcement. These actions cut across a wide range of themes, including awareness raising and training, the elimination of modern slavery from supply chains, the effective and efficient delivery of support services to victims, the strengthening of operational, policy and legislative settings to enhance enforcement and prosecution, and international cooperation to support effective prevention and enforcement responses. But the real tests in how we meet our objectives and how we achieve the outcomes that we are seeking will be in the work that lies ahead. Although the plan of action is a set document, it may be the case that new actions or areas of focus are identified based on new information that comes to light. And I do note that recently we've had additional wording come into the plan of action to bring particular focus to bringing forward the stories of victims of these practices to better inform our understandings. We do not assume that we have all of the answers now, nor do we assume that the plan of action will put an end to all forms of modern slavery in 5 years, but it gives us a framework to begin working and making real progress on these issues. We're constantly continuing to build our knowledge and our understanding of these problems with each passing day. We must continue to be open-minded on the means that we can address the problems of modern slavery. We need to be flexible and ready to adapt together with the changing nature of exploitation. Indeed, our work on these issues will be informed by the discussions that will soon be taking place in this forum over the next couple of days. Fundamental to achieving success in eliminating modern slavery and worker exploitation is the principle of effective partnership. From an enforcement perspective, modern slavery and worker exploitation often occur in conjunction with other exploitative and illegal practices. These can include breaches of employment standards, immigration fraud, money laundering, physical and sexual assault, including through family violence and more. Accordingly, it's absolutely imperative that government agencies and the community sector are joined up in identifying and responding to these practices when they occur. This includes providing effective wraparound support to victims that is responsive to their needs and their particular circumstances. In relation to enforcement, we've recently seen the successful outcomes achieved from effective agency cooperation. The case that involved both slavery and trafficking last year was jointly investigated by Immigration New Zealand and the police. Those two agencies worked with others to share information and coordinate investigations to combat trafficking in persons and forced labour. And enhancing that cooperation is going to be absolutely critical in the years ahead. More broadly, I think it's essential that we're working together as civil society, business, union, academia and government groups and individuals to be sharing as much information and taking action. Earlier I indicated that we would strive to better understand the indicators of modern slavery to help identify potential victims. This will enable victims and survivors to take their first steps back towards freedom and normality. As part of this, it's important that local communities and community groups, including ethnic communities, are engaged. Over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen the tireless work of community organisation in meeting the needs of local and ethnic communities in a whole range of different ways. Community groups are well placed to identify and refer victims of serious exploitation and are essential to ensuring the successful reintegration of survivors. It's their on-the-ground knowledge, their relationships and their positions of trust that will support people to come forward and seek help. So we want to partner with you to be maximising those possibilities. We cannot escape the impact of COVID-19 and the increased vulnerability that it has brought, particularly to people who are already vulnerable to different forms of exploitation. But we can take steps to ensure that our response is tailored and effective. We must do all that we can at this particular time to prevent exploitation, protect victims and enforce the law. In the coming 2 days, you're going to hear from a wide range of individuals. This is going to include people who have survived exploitation, worker representatives, support service providers, businesses, representatives of both national and international organisations, academics and government representatives. I think that the discussions that you are going to have are going to be essential in charting forward the work that we have now, the work that we have ahead of us to support the plan of action that we have announced and formally launched today. I wish all of you a very successful and productive conference. I encourage everyone to bring forward their knowledge and their expertise, to share it with everyone else who is participating in this exercise, because as I think we understand, a problem of this scale is going to be one that requires all of us to work together. My final comment is just a huge thank you to all of you. I know that for many of you, the work that is going to be talked about over the coming couple of days isn't just a professional obligation. It's something that you believe in, it's something that you care about. It comes from a deep sense of araha for human beings whose lives are adversely affected by these practices. I know that many of you are not paid for the work that you engage in this sector. So for the work that you do, I thank you and I wish you a very good conference ahead and affirm that the government is here to work arm in arm with you. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Thank you.